Ready? Okay. It's 1:30. We've got a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Next item's to receive the minutes from January 16.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to receive the minutes from the January 16th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
I'm still logging in, so I'm still logging in.
There we go.
I'm an aye. Aye.
Okay. Received. Next, requests for continuances. There are none on the agenda. Does anybody in the audience want to request a continuance on an item? Okay. I don't have a consent docket, so Cindy, you want to call the first one?
So we have
please?
item number 1, case number 15833 is a request of Wallace Design Collective on behalf of Rogers Oil Inc. for a variance to the platted front yard setback in the architectural regulations in the C3 Community District located at 4450 Northwest Expressway.
The address is
Can you pull the microphone down so we can hear?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, thank you.
Purvi Patel with Wallace Design Collective. The address is 410 North Walnut. We are in front of you with another Spin City location in Oklahoma City, and this time we are requesting. The first one is to allow for the use of a mixture of prefab architectural metal panels and cladding to match the existing stores. We've been in front of the Board of Adjustment 3 additional times. This is our 4th one, and Spin City has approximately 6 locations in the metro area. And the second variance, Sarah, if you can pull up that site plan. The second variance is to a platted 75-foot building line that covers a portion of the parcel. So a portion of it falls within a platted subdivision, and a portion of it's unplatted in C3. So we have a 75-foot setback and then a 25-foot setback. So we are requesting to meet the 25-foot C3 setback for the entire frontage along Northwest Expressway. So the cyan boundary is the boundary of the plat, which is the amended Meridian Northwest Plaza plat. It was recorded in 1969. Since then, this parcel has been several uses. The last use was a gas station. The canopy of the gas station was built within the 75-foot platted. As you can see, the neighbor to the east has their building within the 75-foot platted as well. So we're just requesting to meet the 25-foot zoning setback. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments from the board?
It seems to make sense. It lines up with the building to the east. So I'm in favor of it.
Nobody signed up to speak on this item. Does anybody want to address the board on this application?
And also, it being the 3rd or 4th Spin City, the architectural metal is not per se a metal building, it's architectural, and so we've approved it in the past also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Guess we're ready for a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve case number 15833 on the statutory requirement that it meets for a variance, for both variances.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 2, case number 15804 is a request of Ever Pondo and Veronica Martinez on behalf of SAS Property LLC for a variance to the prohibition of signs in the right-of-way in the O2 General Office District located at 4720 Southwestern Avenue.
Hello, my name is Veronica Martinez.
This is my first time doing this, so I'm just here to request, we have an existing sign on our location, and we're building a new one with a LED sign, and we're requesting a variance to build the new sign up there. We already sent all the proper documentation the day request before this meeting, so just wanted to know if it's approved.
Questions, comments on this one? Nobody signed up on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application? No? I think we're ready for a motion.
The sign sets in the same spot as the existing sign. You're just
Yes.
building a new sign,
Correct.
a brick
Yes, it will be a break.
structure, and then the sign's still in the middle.
Yes,
Signs,
correct.
looks like it's 55 square feet, so, and it lines up with the sign to the east also, or to the north.
Correct.
So I don't see any problems with it.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
You good with it?
Ready for a motion then?
Motion to approve case number 15804 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so cast your votes. You're approved.
Item number 3, case number 15837, is a request of Matt Mauer on behalf of IT Properties for a variance to aisle standards in the I-3 Heavy Industrial District located at 7601 Southwest 34th Street.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Mauer. I'm here on behalf of IT Properties. Our client is wanting to put an addition on the north side of his building in this highly industrial section. Because of issues with right-of-way, both with a drainage easement and a railroad to the east of us, the only access that we'd be able to have to the back of that property would be on the west. Currently, in talking and trying to get our building permit, the only thing holding this up is the ordinance making us having a 3-foot wide sidewalk immediately against the building. That would allow us only 8 feet between us and the property line. We're asking to remove that variance so that we can continue with the addition in the back and be able to have access to that.
Questions,
Anyone signed up to
comments?
speak?
No one signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application?
So you're going to have an 11-foot wide paved driveway to the
Paved
back side of
driveway
that?
towards the back, yeah,
And
to be able to
it's-
access parking in the back for the additional footage that we're putting onto this building.
And it's just 11 foot between the building and that existing fence.
That's all there is right now.
That's really tight. No easement through there? It's all
No
on
easements,
private
no.
property?
That's where the current setback is right now from this building. It's been there since the 60s.
Yeah. Did they access the material that's back there right now through the back of that building?
Currently, the only way that they do it is through
Through the building?
grass, through the drainage easement. So on the east side right now, they go around into the grass of the drainage easement, but this is going to be serving as a warehouse, and so we'll need access for the delivery trucks.
Any other questions or comments? Ready for a motion?
No. And the truth is, they were going to make them put a 3-foot sidewalk, and then they would have paved it anyway, so it's just all going to be paved 11 feet wide.
Correct.
And none of it exists, none of it affects the existing, the 15-foot drainage easement that runs along that.
The drainage easement's on the east side, and so we can't do anything over there because there's a drainage easement and a railroad easement over there. So there's no easements on the west side where we propose building this, putting the driveway.
And the rest of it's fine, building permit-wise.
Correct. We've passed everything. We have emails concerning the fact that this is the only thing holding it up.
no protest from the neighbor on the west?
None at all, no. As far as we can tell, it's an abandoned building, but we can't, actually would prefer to purchase it, but
Any other questions or comments? Ready for a motion?
Motion to approve case number 15837 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
thank you very much.
You're approved.
Item number 4, case number 15841 is a request of GNS Sign Services on behalf of Downtown Oklahoma City, Inc. for a variance to the prohibition of signs in the right-of-way in the DBD Downtown Business District located at 3 Northeast 6th Street.
Hello, my name is Cameron Gleason. I'm with GNS Sign Services at 1634 Southeast 23rd Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm here to present a case to seek a variance, and I'll go ahead and start with this introduction here. This application seeks a variance to allow for the installation of commemorative signage over the right-of-way in honor of the Oklahoma City bombings memorial 30th anniversary. The proposed signage and related enhancements are integral to preserving the memory of the significant historical event and fostering a sense of identity and pride for the community. The installation has been thoughtfully designed in partnership with the City of Oklahoma City and other stakeholders to respect the intent of the ordinance while addressing the unique circumstances of the property and its historic importance. To preface, we were before the DRC about a month ago, and they approved us with the contingency that all the lights are within the 3,500 Kelvin range as far as color temperature goes. And then obviously, as long as the Board of Adjustment approves us for being in the right-of-way. And then there's been some stuff going back and forth kind of in the middle between the DRC and this meeting about the clearance signs being visible. So I'm not sure if this ever made it back to you guys, but we go ahead and moved the sign up a little bit in the drawings so that the existing clearance signs are undisturbed, while also adding one more clearance sign just for better visibility. And open to any questions from you guys.
Anything from the board? Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody here that wants to address the board on this application? Okay.
This still has to get approved by the railroad?
One of the signs does, yes. The Oklahoma City portion in particular. Everything under the bridge has been okayed.
I have a staff question. What would, if we grant this variance, would any changes on this later be required to come back before Board of Adjustment or DDRC?
Sarah Welch, Planning Department. I think your variance that you're granting is strictly for the location within the right-of-way. That's the prohibition. They have to go through the DDRC for the sign approval, and if anything were to change, they would have to get a new approval or a new CA from the DDC.
So what we're doing is allowing a sign to be in the right-of-way. no matter what
Correct.
the sign is. We're
So
we're not
over
looking at the sign.
on the overpass, you can, applicant can correct me if I'm wrong, but over the overpass, much like when you go into Bricktown, it says Bricktown above. They're requesting to do that with Oklahoma City, correct? And then also under the bridge, as you've seen on some of the other underpasses on your way between downtown or, and into Deep Deuce and into Bricktown.
Any other questions or comments? Ready for a motion?
Yeah. So motion to approve case number 15841 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance with the condition that, I guess, that the railroad consents to that portion? Would that be appropriate?
Approve of DDRC.
In your staff report, under the part where it says other agencies, we did include a blurb. We did receive consent from the railroad.
So we're good there?
Yeah, I don't think we have any issue with the railroad. I'm sorry, hold on. Just for the record, the BNSF does not object to Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership filing the applications for the 6th Street Railroad Underpass project at 3 Northeast 6th, including the attached sign. And then once the city approvals have been granted for this project, the railroad will complete the lease agreement with Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership upon final review and approval from their engineering and operations department.
So we don't need any conditions, is that correct?
I don't believe we need a condition, no.
Okay, all right, then I'll remove the conditions part of my motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 5, case number 15843 is a request of Mike Patterson on behalf of Bridging the Gap LLC for a variance to front yard setback regulations located at 921 Southeast 15th Street.
Hi, I'm Mike Patterson, the architect of this project at 15th Street, 216 Cricket Hollow. Yes, we're requesting a setback variance for this piece of property. Per the ordinances at the moment, we're required to be 80% of the facade supposed to be in the right-of-way. As we look at all the buildings that are located in this area, there's no other building that meets that requirement. And so our client has asked that we push the building to the back, one for safety, to have it further off the street so the parking can be between the building and the parking so people can't hide back there. And so we've asked for this variance to be pushed back for this building. Any questions from the board?
We sign up to speak.
Nobody signed up on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application? Okay.
I didn't have any problems with
Okay, thank
moving
you.
it back. Urban Design Commission approved it.
Yep. Okay. Anything else from the board?
Ready for a motion? All right. Motion to approve case number 15843 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Looks like you're approved.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
Item number 6 is case number 150, a request of Ethan Slavin of 44 Storage LLC for a variance to architectural regulations to allow metal panel as a primary metal finish in the C3 district located at 8940 Southwest 44th Street. And I wanted to say that this item was continued from the last meeting, January 16th. And since that meeting, I've received additional protest letters. Typically, Fridays at noon, we generate all our protests, exhibits, staff reports, and create an agenda packet for that meeting to be placed online. This past weekend, we took longer to process our packet. As working over the weekend, I started to generate the packet, and I reviewed my emails and printed the emails that were sent past Friday. I scanned those emails, and they were some that were multiple pages, and I scanned single-sided and placed those in our packet. It was brought to my attention that the single-sided pages didn't include the even pages in the packet. These emails received after Friday generally are emailed to our board members, and I print copies, which I have today, and they all have them in their possession, and bring them to the meeting. But I wanted to make sure that they knew that all their protests had been received, and I did email them to the applicant.
Yeah, I think we received it? Yep. Yeah, okay. Hi. So yeah, as mentioned, we were here 3 weeks ago on the 16th in regard to a request to use metal panel on a self-storage facility. It was concluded due to the number of protests that we should push back to today, have another community meeting. Thank you to Emily Geist, she helped facilitate that. So we had another meeting with the members of the neighborhood and the local community, and a couple things have changed since then. The two major concerns in reaching back out to community members was the east and south sides of the project. And in looking at some of the grading and discussions, we've went ahead and decided to go ahead and brick the east side of the buildings due to the site slope. So those buildings will sit a bit higher above the neighborhood to the east. So they'll be pretty highly visible to those neighbors above their 6-foot wood fence. So we went ahead and made that decision to add masonry on that side. And then there was a request to add masonry to the south side of Building G. And in discussion, it was my opinion that it will not be highly visible at all. That's where we have a brick fence, which in looking at the courses is actually a little bit taller than 6 foot throughout most of the site. And we're pretty far off of those residences, and that building's eave height is only 9 feet. So we're kind of explaining that through with the community members of just the visibility will be very minimal of Building G. So that's what's changed since last time. I don't know if our plans are.
So what's left that you're asking for the variance?
Approval for all of the interior buildings
Okay.
and then Building G. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interior still, all right. Anything from the board?
I think these might still be old.
So what are the changes to Building G in that last slide since last time?
Just the east.
Nothing, just the east side. Yeah, sorry. No, it's okay. That colored diagram will show where we've changed adding masonry. So when we first came, we showed masonry on the north and west sides facing the street. So since then, we went ahead and decided to add masonry on the east side facing that neighborhood to the east, just because it will be highly visible because of the grading. And then there was discussion about adding masonry to the south. So there's the brick fence to the south of us. So you can see it steps. So our grading goes from east to west. Our grading goes from east to west. So our building will kind of follow that. We'll step down similarly to that brick fence. And the eave height is 9 foot. It's not very tall. So the visibility of that is going to be extremely minimal.
So the backside of your building, the part of your building, it would be Building G that faces that brick wall.
Yeah,
And
the back of it, yeah.
The part of that Building G that faces that brick wall, that's masonry or that's?
No, we're requesting it still be metal panel because it's, the south of Building G.
And what's the distance?
We are 85 feet from the houses, and we're 18 feet off of that brick fence. And the eave height of that building is only 9 feet. I had another diagram. There it is. Yeah. So this is very diagrammatic in nature. I know that grading's not dead flat, but just to kind of show a sense of scale, that building's only 9 feet, and we're pretty far off those residences. And then in the images on the last page, you can see how, like in the top left-hand corner, how tall that brick fence is above the typical wood fences. So the visibility of that, you might see the roof more than anything, more than the wall, honestly, which is why we're requesting it still be metal panel.
So I drove there, looked at it from those people's front yards. There's 8 houses that back up to it.
Yep,
None of them have a second story.
right.
And just looking from the front yards to the back and seeing the height, it wouldn't be able to see much but the ridge probably.
Yeah, the roof
So
itself, yeah.
I think, is there people signed up to speak?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should probably hear from them.
Before we get to that, if I may, Mr. Chairman, take a minute to reflect Ms. Cindy's Lagan's comments.
Okay.
I did read the protest, and I think that anyone communicating with any city personnel, I do take offense, and I treat the support staff that we have here just like I do with my own staff. And I really don't put up with being condescending or rude in any way, shape, or form. So I hope that from now on, whether it's in this matter or any other matter, that people are going to have respect for our city personnel that do work hard and people make mistakes. And I was really taken aback by the comments that were made in that email. As we're going through here, I guess my question is, and I know that we had a public meeting discussing signs. When we go to the statutory standards, subpart A says the application of the ordinance to this particular property would create an unnecessary hardship. Maybe I don't remember. Can you remind me what the unnecessary hardship that we were creating if we were to apply the ordinance as written?
Yes. So mainly the hardship is, what it is in nature. The reason we're requesting for metal panel is maintenance for one. If somebody backs their car into this building, it's going to be a lot harder. It proves waterproofing concerns at that point. If our masonry wall gets backed into by a car or someone moving their bed frame or whatever it may be, being able to replace that metal panel is going to be a lot more seamless from a maintenance standpoint, in the future. As well as thermal concerns. These are not treated buildings. We don't have HVAC, which is normal for self-storage. So just the thermal mass of masonry is also a cause for concern. We want to keep people's items within the building safe and protected and waterproofed, and make sure that we can maintenance easily and adequately. So that's the primary cause of hardship if we were to have to do masonry, is just longevity of maintenance.
So there was a comment made in one of the emails that pertained to that the ordinance has not changed since the time that the property was purchased for this specific purpose. Knowing that, was that not factored in as to whether or not to build a storage facility at this particular location?
The ordinance.
I can speak to that. The land initially actually wasn't purchased for storage facility. We were going to build a retail strip center there. As you drove by there, you saw the retail strip center on the northwest corner, and we've since changed directions and felt like it was a good location for self-storage. So we've kind of completely changed our initial thought for that piece of land.
Because of competition across the street.
Well, yeah, there's one, two got built before we got to it.
Yeah.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay, anybody else?
I'll hear from them.
All right. I've got 3 people signed up to speak on this one, and we'll just go in the order on my list here. Representative Emily Geis.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot already in this meeting. You guys do incredible work, and thank you for that. I've received numerous complaints, as you guys have had, about this specific issue. We did host a community meeting where we had quite a few members join us on a Zoom call, as well as the developers. And quite frankly, they were very professional and incredible to work with. I think they'll make fine neighbors for this community. We are still concerned about the back of Building G. The neighbors believe that the incline of the ground will show the back. So they are requesting that the ordinance be followed, that the back of Building G be bricked. The interior buildings, they are completely fine with those being the metal siding, but they are still requesting that Building G be done. So, of course, I think this group has been incredible to work with, and I don't want to let that fail to mention that. In that meeting, they actually came and said, let's do that east side. So thank you for that. But the request still stands for the back of Building G to be bricked. They'd like to preserve the visual integrity of their neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from the board? Wimberley looks like Condren.
Hi, good afternoon. Here again, I was here on the 16th in opposition of the variance. I do live in the Fieldstone neighborhood that is directly impacted by Building G.
Could you give your name and address?
Sure. Again, it is Wimberley Condren. I'm at 4809 Limestone Drive in Fieldstone. And I'll just repeat, in opposition of the variance, the neighborhood itself, while there have been some adjustments to the original plan to brick the east side based on our January 29th Zoom call, the Building G is still not bricked on either end or on the south end. So we are requesting the west, east, and south end be bricked in. I understand that it is of some people's opinion that it will not be that highly visible, but it does impact the community. People want to come home to their neighborhood, feel comfortable being in it. I am happy to hear one of my emails was one that some of the back double pages weren't printed, so I'm happy to hear that you all have received that and are familiar with that. So I won't go through all of the many points that I have, one of which has already been mentioned in terms of, I had the question that if you've purchased the property, did you not know that, the ordinance was in place and those kinds of things. So we're glad that we're able to be here and be represented as a community and work along with businesses. It's economic development. We like that in our community. We are just asking that it's something that's representative of our community. In the Fieldstone neighborhood, we were one of those neighborhoods that didn't have a large understanding, so it was helpful to meet on the 16th as well as the 29th, gain a better understanding. But a result of that is 50 total letters that have been submitted. 21 of those were from Fieldstone in opposition, and 18 homes represented in that, because we had a couple where, two people in the home, husband, wife kind of situation, submitted letters independently. And I think that speaks volumes. I think the sticking point thus far still is that Building G, and respectfully request, again, west side, east side, and south side of the building be completed in a brick. When I was here on the 16th, I did voice that a couple of different properties that are also public storage, that are not the orange ones, but private ones, I guess, I don't know if that's the right term, provided a couple of addresses in our Ward 3. Another one also completed that way is on 240 and Walker. 104th and Walker, that has complete brick. And so when you talk about exterior, if the Fieldstone neighborhood did not exist, I believe that the back of the building would need to be considered exterior and be bricked in. Any questions?
No, I want to commend you on your protest letter. Very well done, very complete.
Thank you.
Really, tons of information.
Yes,
You did good.
And I do want to address the comment, I'm not certain on the emails to the board, if any of those, I hope that it was not my writings that made you feel offensive. That was absolutely not my intent. It was more to be thorough, as you say, and just very direct. It's a business transaction. There are feelings involved. I recognize that on both sides. But, most of the residents want to, again, feel comfortable in their community. We are in Oklahoma City. We are verging that rural area. I lived in the DC area for a long time. I am used to all of the urban things. And so I just know that in this community, the flavor that we're representing, we just want that to be matched.
Anything from the board?
Well, I'm not sure. It was not you. I can assure you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Anyone else? Is that it?
Yeah, Stephen?
One?
Good afternoon, Stephen Contrin. I'm also a resident of Fieldstone, which is to the south of the property in question. I just want to point out a few things that I think have been missed. In reference to Building G, we're not really thinking about the residents to the east looking to the west. I think that they will be able to see down that long alleyway, and that metal siding will be seen to those residents. And there are some taller residential areas to the east of this property. The other thing, I think in our last meeting, we talked about the use of standing seam and hidden fasteners where they will be using metal siding. I think we need to keep that instead of, fasteners that are visible to the neighborhood and all that. Are there any questions?
Anything from the board? Those are the only folks that signed up to speak. Is there anybody else who wants to address the board on this one? You want to go again? Quickly, yeah, come on up.
One point that I did want to point out is the back of Building G. I know in numerous discussions here and outside of here, when presented with why the metal on the back, the argument for hardship in this case has to be proven. The discussion has surrounded the maintenance and in the possibility it gets damaged, which insurance is something that will be carried. And to last time we were here, Ms. Slavin Copeland, I was trying to think of the second last name, apologize, had testified to the fact that nobody would be driving down the back of that building. So I would argue it would be less damaged. Nothing will be driving behind that building. So I'm not convinced that it should not be bricked for the reason of easier maintenance. So thank you.
Anything else from the board?
No, I would just say that some of the reasonings for the hardship and the idea of maintenance is something that I'm not sure that I can get behind, just the reason to not brick it. I think the thermal reason is probably a greater reason to me anyways, but I think in order for you to build this project in this spot, I think all the perimeter needs to be bricked.
Okay, on the south?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it would, it's the one stopping point.
Yeah, I think our kind of thoughts on, from my understanding, that portion of the code, metal panels not providing like a life safety risk by any means. So it's probably mostly just aesthetic, which is totally understandable.
Yep.
We don't want
Yep.
metal buildings everywhere. So I totally get that. So from an aesthetic perspective, 1 foot or so of metal panel.
And if you wouldn't had I don't know how many, I didn't count how many protests. I would be
I
fine with it
understand.
being
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah.
I'm not here to waste your money
Yeah.
and
No, I
do
hear
that,
you.
but with this number of protests, I think that
Yeah,
it'd behoove you to just brick it and go on.
yeah, I hear you.
We're good with that.
That's your call.
We're good with
Brick south.
The back of LNG.
So northeast, south, and west.
Everything.
Exterior.
Perimeter. Okay. Sure.
And I do agree that the maintenance issue would be less from the back.
Yeah. People aren't driving.
Yeah, I think that's the only sticking point for me. So if you guys are in agreement to brick that south side, then I can get behind the
Sure.
application.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think we're ready for a motion.
All right, motion to approve case number 15820 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance with the modification that the exterior walls will be bricked. And now, does that encompass everything that we have discussed?
Exterior facing walls.
Exterior facing walls
Yeah.
shall be brick.
Okay.
And allow for any of the homeowners to stipulate otherwise, make sure that we capture it correctly.
Did we get a second?
I'll second it.
Now we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item number 7 is case number 15835, is a renewal application for K&K Enterprises Imports LLC to allow home sharing located at 2920 Southwest 63rd Street. And I wanted to say that the following cases for home sharing are still to be considered under the current ordinance for home share rental.
Yeah, this is for home sharing. One of my properties, 2920 Southwest 63rd
Would you
Street.
pull the microphone down just a little bit so we can hear you better?
Yeah, home sharing for 2920 Southwest 63rd Street. I'm applying for renewal for this one. Last 3 years we are running this one, no issue, no problem. So it's just for renewal, home sharing.
And give us,
Apply.
just for the record, your name and address. I didn't hear it. Name and address, just for the record, please.
My name,
Yes.
Sharmin Khanum. I am the Qazi Saifullah's wife.
Okay.
And I am maintaining the house.
Anyone signed up to speak on this?
Not on this one. Is there anybody who wants to address the board on this application? Okay, anything from the board?
Okay, and there's no protests. Just a couple of questions on it.
Okay.
The maximum number of guests, it's a 3-bedroom home, and you have 8 guests.
Yes.
How can you get to 8 with 3 bedrooms?
3-bedroom, but I have 2 living room. There is one is pretty big living room, and another one is also entrance living room. Both of them is pretty big, and I have a bed over there and sofa bed over there. So, and the parking spot is really, I have a 1 garage, 2 driving spot, and office strip parking 2. So almost 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 car available over there. And the house is 1,780 square feet. It's pretty big house. I don't have, like, I feel it's very big house. 3-bedroom, but house is individually pretty big, and 2 living room. One is very big.
How many bathrooms are in this house?
2 full bathroom.
Two full baths?
Yes.
In the past, and as we've evolved in doing these, we've gone to 7 with 3 bedrooms and then plus 1. So would you take a maximum of 7?
Yes.
Okay, and then I want to state quiet hours
Yes.
to put in the application from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Yes.
And I'd like to put a maximum number of vehicles to 3.
It is 3 if it is driveway and the garage, but the office street parking is still, I have 2. One this side, and if you see the picture of my house, 2 side is ours, so guests can park easily over there.
Yeah, well, I want to limit the on-street
Okay,
parking.
no problem.
I want to limit to 3 vehicles and limit the on-street parking to no on-street
No,
parking during
okay.
quiet hours. So after 9 PM, you can't park in the street.
No problem, okay.
And I would give you an exception for 3 years since this is a renewal.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
That's good.
I don't have any protests on this one. I think we're ready for a motion then.
Motion to approve case number 15835 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exception with the following modifications: that maximum number of guests shall be 7 for a term of 3 years, quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM, 3-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Cast your votes. Looks like you're approved.
Item number 8, case number 15836 is a renewal application for K&K Enterprises and Imports LLC to allow home sharing at 3016 Southwest 61st Street.
Yes, I have another property, 3016 Southwest 61st Street, and it have the 4-bedroom and 2 full bathroom, upstairs, downstairs, and driving, 3 shed parking, and at least 4 driver parking. So this one I am also, last 3 years we are running, no problem, no issue. So this is for renewal also.
Anyone signed up to speak?
No one
No.
signed up.
So there was one written protest in the packet.
Yes.
Do you have that?
Yes.
And so I'd like for you to contact that one resident.
Okay.
Just so they have your information. And then, same thing on this is you have 4 bedrooms, but you have maximum of 10 guests.
Yes.
What's the sleeping arrangement outside of the bedrooms? Is there a couch, pull-out
Yes,
couch?
they have the living room is big. There is the also I have the sofa couch bed over there, and one of the living room is big. I put over there 2 beds, so if they want to share. But other than that, is 4 bedroom. That means 8 people easily can stay, and 2 people is sofa bed. My arrangement is like that way.
I'd like to decrease that to 9, so
Okay.
4 plus the 1.
That sounds good.
I want to add quiet hours to the application from 9 PM to 8 AM. And I'd like to make the maximum number of vehicles, and you can fit 6 in this area,
Yes.
but no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Okay.
And again, it's a renewal, so for me, it'd be 3 years.
Okay.
Was it a 3-year, are we coming off a 3-year, or was the last one 1 year?
I think we gave her 3 years on her first one at the last one.
Oh, okay. All right, so just the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Ready?
Ready for a motion, I guess?
Motion to approve case number 15836 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modifications that it will be a maximum number of guests shall be 9, 3-year exception, quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM, a 6-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Now you're approved.
Item number 9, case number 15825 is an application by Jeremy Howell on behalf of Joseph and Michelle Carr, trustees of the JMC Family Trust, to allow home sharing at 1728 Runway Boulevard.
Jeremy Howell, 36 West Mill Road. This first house is not even in B right now. It's just a long-term rental. The clients just want to potentially turn it into one when the client leaves, if they can't find another long-term one. And so it's a house in the Wheeler District, a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. But it's not listed right now. It's just they don't have the option to be able to do it.
Anyone sign up to speak? No?
Nobody signed up on this one. Does it?
Go ahead.
Anybody want to address the board on this application? All right.
So I just want to make an adjustment to the application on the quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM.
yeah,
You have
so-
10 listed.
Sure.
I want to put a maximum number of vehicles with the rental, and that'd be 2 in the garage, and then I'd still allow for 2 on-street parking because it's a Wheeler district and they have a lot of on-street parking. And it's the first term for this, so 1-year exemption.
Sounds good.
Anything else from the board?
You said
I think we're ready
2,
for a motion.
2 in the garage and then 2 on-street. They park in front. It's on an alley in the back.
so. Term of 1, okay. Motion to approve case number 15825 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modification that a quiet hour shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM and maximum number of vehicles at 4, with 2 being in the garage and 2 being on the street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. And you're approved.
Item number 10, case number 15821 is an application by Jeremy Howe on behalf of Flamingo Holdings LLC to allow home sharing, 1844 Northwest 23rd Street, Unit 15.
It's just a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment. It's going to have 1 designated parking spot for our clients.
Anyone sign up to speak on this one?
Nobody signed up. Does anybody want to address the board? Okay.
Just a couple of changes to the application. I want to add the quiet hours to 9 PM to 8 AM.
Yeah, I'll change all of those, yeah. I'll probably make them all the same.
So a maximum number of vehicles to be 1,
Yeah.
since there's 1 dedicated
Yep.
parking spot. And it's the first time up, so 1 year.
Okay.
That's what you're requesting? Yeah. It's got 1 year on there?
Yeah. So
Is that a motion?
Well, on a side note is most of these homes, including this one, I took over them all from a previous guy. He had them listed, sorry. And then we refreshed them all. He was getting some pretty bad reviews because he kind of let them kind of go by the wayside. And so we kind of took over 6 properties for him, and we spent 2 months remodeling them, refreshing the furniture, and then they're all back under my account as of this month.
I noticed
Some-
that
some of these-
none of them were up on VRBO.
Yeah, they
right now.
enlisted all of them, like last month, but they were up for over a year, just so you know, like transparency. They're not brand new, but I took them all over this month.
As far as the number within this small complex here, we're still not violating the 10%.
No, plus it's not in effect, yeah. But we wouldn't be either, because there's more dwelling units than,
All right.
I understand the properties in there doing it. These clients own that building, who I'm taking it over.
Okay.
And we want to do 1 more, so I'm not sure if that will proceed going forward, but we're not going to do more than 2.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve case number 15821 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modification that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM and maximum number of vehicles at 1.
Sounds good.
Second?
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Item number 11, case number 15823 is an application by Jeremy Howell on behalf of 2935 Northwest 19th LLC to allow home sharing at 2935 Northwest 19th Street.
This is one of 3 properties that they had. It's the same people, just different LLC. But it has a bedroom, a house up front. It has a tiny home next to it, and they have 2 other properties that are similar to that. And we have it listed as 1 property with the house in the back being an office. So he had them listed as 2 properties, and I don't want to do that. It's because, it's not like doing that. It creates some unneeded headache. And so I'm trying to keep it as 1 booking, 1 property, and they can pay us extra for that back property if they want to or not.
Anyone sign
Nobody
up?
signed up on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application? Okay.
Just make the adjustment to the application for the quiet hours to 9 PM.
Sure,
8 AM. Maximum number of vehicles being 3.
To 3,
Yeah, so 2 in the,
including the tiny house. It's got its own little parking spot.
yeah, I was gonna allow on-street.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just because of where it is and
Yeah.
the limited parking. And the term per the application.
1 year.
Anything else?
Motion to approve case number 15823 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modifications that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM and a 3-car maximum.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so cast your votes. And you're approved.
Item number 12, case number 15824 is an application by Jeremy Howe on behalf of 2201 Northwest 13th LLC to allow home sharing 2201 Northwest.
It's just kind of same setup, bigger house. It's a 4-bedroom house up front, and it's got a 1-bedroom garage apartment behind it that you get to from the right. You can't get to from the yard, but you get to go around. It's got its own step for a 2-car garage. And there is almost a 4-car parking spot to the right there in front of the apartment. And the garage is not used by the guests, it's storage for the homeowners.
And there's nobody signed up to speak. Does anybody want to address the board on this one? Okay.
So the same thing on the amendment to the application for the quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM. Maximum number of vehicles to be 4.
Okay.
And no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Okay, sounds good.
Exception per.
Could we get a second?
All right, motion to approve case number 15824 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modification that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM, 4-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, so cast your votes. And you're approved.
Item number 13, case number 15826 is an application by Jeremy Howe on behalf of Jason D. Miller and Kristen Homel to allow home sharing located at 1325 Southwest 14th Street.
Different client, but it's just a 2-bedroom house kind of northwest of the Wheeler District. And he remodeled the whole entire thing inside and kind of refreshed a little bit too.
Anyone signed up?
Nobody signed up on this one. Is anybody wanting to address the board on this application? Is that a gravel driveway?
Yes, it is. A gravel refresh driveway.
I haven't been there. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
still there if you drive. I'm thinking it's probably still gravel.
Yeah, it's new gravel. Same thing on the application, just to make the adjustment to the quiet hours, 9 PM to 8 AM. Maximum number of vehicles, 2,
Okay.
and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve case number 15826 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modifications that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM, 2-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second?
Motion and a second, cast your votes. And you're approved.
Item number 14, case number 15827, an application by Jeremy Howell on behalf of Joseph Brown and Caitlin Swanson to allow home sharing in the R1 Single Family District located at 1624 Northwest 32nd Street.
This is a 3-bedroom house, and then the rear house actually has 2 bedrooms. It's like one down, one up. It's kind of a loft bedroom in their detached property. Yeah, and that driveway is, you have to use it to get to the back property, the one to the right.
Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application? Okay.
And this one did have a code violation probably right when you
Yeah,
got
police
it.
were called on it, yeah. They had a party. And all these three-bedroom houses, I have a 3-night minimum on the weekends and 2 on the weekdays. To try, like, I have no interest in that, so I took them over from him to help kind of get it back on track. And this one's the same way. I have a 3 nights on the weekend and 2 on the weekends. Or weekdays, I mean. I haven't had any issues yet.
So just an amendment to the application for the quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM.
Okay.
And a maximum of 3 vehicles with no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Yep.
In your application, you say it can accommodate 2?
What's that question again?
In your application, it says it can accommodate 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Oh, it can do more than that. And behind the house, it's got a big gravel parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah. The tree's kind of covered up, but it's a pretty good sized parking lot.
All right, so we're doing three car max? Don?
Yeah.
Say 3 cars? Okay. All right, motion to approve case number 15827 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions, with the modification that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM at 3-car maximum and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Turn.
1 year.
Term of 1 year, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Go, and you're approved.
Item number 15, case number 15828, is an application by Jeremy Howell on behalf of 1700 Plot to allow home sharing at 1704 Northwest 17th Street, Unit 102.
These next 2 identical properties are just 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments, and they share a landing area. And then the apartment complex has got a gated private parking lot behind it. And each one has a designated parking spot for it. I think there's 2 per, they have them like sectioned off with paint. But each one's got 2 parking spots.
How many units are in the building? Sorry.
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know. Anyone sign up to speak?
Nobody on this one? Does anybody want to address us on this application?
You said there's 2 designated spots?
Yeah, if you go in that door, it's one on the right, one on the left.
Yeah,
So 2-car maximum?
2,
Yeah.
yeah.
I said these 2 have been also operational for well over a year under his account. And we shut them down and redid them.
Make a change the application for the quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM.
Okay.
Maximum number of vehicles being 2. No on-street parking during quiet hours.
Okay. Motion to approve case number 15828 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions, with the modifications that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM, 2-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Item number 16 is case 15829, is an application by Jeremy Howell on behalf of 1700 Plaza LLC to allow house sharing at 1704 Northwest 17th Street, Unit 101.
Same as the last one. I'll change the quiet hours.
No one signed up to speak?
Nobody on this one? And is there anybody that wants to address us on this application?
Same changes?
Same changes.
All right. Motion to approve case number 15829 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions, with modifications that quiet hours shall be from 9 PM to 8 AM, 2-car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so cast your votes.
Have a good one.
Approved.
Item number 17 is case number 15830, an application by Karen Tombutton to allow home sharing at 3804 Northwest 20th Street.
Hello, members. My name's Karen Tarbutton, address 220 South Agnew, Oklahoma City, 73107. Just requesting, this is my first time on requesting special exception for rental home. I don't recall, I should have looked it up before I come to the board. On the first one, I think I wrote 8 guests, and I actually think 6 would fit better. I was thinking people with 3 or 4 children. But I've got 2 queen beds in there, 1 twin over a double for the children, and then another couch convertible bed. That home has half concrete drive and half gravel, which is going to be poured into full concrete. I don't like anybody parking on the streets, actually. And the other house is the next one. It's already had a concrete drive repoured.
I don't have anybody signed up. If anybody here wants to address the board on this application?
There is one written protest.
Okay.
I don't know if you had a copy of it. It's in the packet. And so just reach out to them. It's just a standard protest that they don't want
How do I
home sharing
receive
in
a
the
copy
neighborhood.
of that?
Yeah, she can get that for
Oh,
you.
you have it? Okay.
And while she's doing that, just a couple of changes. I want to state the maximum number of guests to be 6. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. Maximum number of vehicles to be 3 with no on-street parking during the quiet hours. And it would be for a term of 1 year since it's the first time it's up.
Thank you, sir.
Ready for a motion?
Motion to approve case number 15830 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the request of special exceptions with the modifications that maximum number of guests shall be 6 for a term of 1 year, 3-car maximum, no on-street parking during quiet hours, and quiet hours being 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you.
You're approved.
Item number 18, case number 1583 by Karen Tarbutton to allow home sharing located at 3821 Northwest 20th Street.
Again, Karen Tarbutton, address 220 South Agnew, Oklahoma City. It's actually 73108. This home is just 2 bedrooms. I have 2 queen beds in it, new drive. Actually, both of the homes have been renovated inside, but I'm thinking this one would fit 4 guests comfortably. Also, just for both these homes, the targeted area is all the hospitals and the fairgrounds and downtown. I'm not wanting party groups, but there's traveling nurses, there's visiting family members. It's a good location for that.
Anyone sign up to speak?
Nobody on this one?
Okay, the same protester wrote on this one too, so you have same guy.
Gotcha.
Just a couple of adjustments to the application, and that would be maximum of 4 guests, quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., a maximum number of vehicles to be 4, with no on-street parking during the quiet hours, and a term for 1 year.
Thank you.
Motion to approve case number 15831 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the request of special exceptions with the modifications that quiet hours shall be 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., no on-street parking during the quiet hours, a 4-car maximum, 4 guests maximum, and for a term of 1 year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's cast your votes. And you're approved.
Thank you, Board.
Item number 19, case number 15832 is a renewal application by Julie K. Lamb to allow home sharing at 600 Southwest 111th Street.
Hi, my name is Julie Lamb, and I'm at 3501 Crystal Spring Drive, Norman, Oklahoma, 73072. I am here for a renewal license for the home sharing. This is a 3,200 square foot home at 600 Southwest 111th Street. It's a 4-bedroom home with 4 beds. I have 1 king and 3 queens, 3.5 bath, so we are allowing 8 guests. Since we have a swimming pool at the house and it's a big home, we have upped it to 3-night minimum, and that's doing really well for us. We have quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., and the maximum cars is 5, since we have a circle drive and we have a driveway on the side.
Anyone sign up to speak?
Nobody signed up on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application? Okay.
So the only thing I saw on the application that I wanted to maybe adjust was the number of years for the exception. I think you were saying maybe 2, and it's the second time, no protests. I would be good with 3.
Okay, thank you.
And I do want to say, I remember when this first came up, and there was a lot of protesters and a lot of people who are worried. So I drove by the property. It looks really good. No protests. You're obviously running a good business.
Thank you.
So.
Do we have maximum number of vehicles?
5.
5 car max?
Yeah, and it's in the application.
All right. Motion to approve case number 15832 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions, with the only modification being that the term will be for 3 years.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 20, case number 15834, is an application by Carla Esparza Segovia to allow home sharing at 833 Southeast 67th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Esparza Segovia. I'm here requesting a special exemption for a home sharing located in 833 Southeast 67th Street in Oklahoma City.
I think I saw one protest in the packet.
You want to sign up?
I've got one person signed up. Yeah. Okay, one protest in the packet, and Wayne Duck, your turn.
Good afternoon, board members, ladies and gentlemen. For 20 years, I've owned 837 Southeast 67th Street.
Give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Wayne Duck. I live at 837 Southeast 67th Street.
Okay. Thank you.
The home in question actually was abandoned, and I reached out to Community Action and had the city take over the property, rehab it, and sell it. There was gang members, drugs going on. I got the community involved, and we've cleaned up our neighborhood. Since 788 passed, we've got a homeless problem in our neighborhood that is unbelievable. There's defecation on my street. There's people urinating. There's camps all over. The last thing I need is more people. I think if you'll see my letter about parking, I have 1 homicide on my street over parking already. 1. That was August of last year. I have a video of me talking to the police, wearing the police out. The lady was begging them to do something. Nothing was done because there was no physical proof of violence. So the police done nothing. So then they're investigating a homicide on my street. It's 3 doors down from my house, from your house, is where the homicide happened. And it's over parking. It's at a premium. I've had my truck and trailer hit from behind, knock the axle totally out from under it and make it inoperable. Cost me over $3,800 to get my lawn trailer repaired. Then I had my new F-250 rammed into by somebody on drugs. Later, they found him passed out at the end of my street. The map that you have here in question does not show the on-ramp. Right here on High, this is an access road, and at the end of my street on 67th, you can get straight on I-35. So this is a one-way right there, so everybody uses this road. I've had the fire department multiple times wake us up because they have to hit the sirens and woo to get people to come outside to move their vehicles because they're too tight. We're too closely packed. I've also seen the prior homeowner that had the house before you, dumping diesel, oil, and other chemicals. He was a mechanic around the property. That's why I asked for an environmental study of the property before anything, before I allow more people there. When the city renovated the house, they said they were going to sell it to a family. They didn't say they were going to pimp it out to someone that was going to rent it to multiple people. I live in this, it's my primary residence. Me and this beautiful woman right here, we work our whole life for this house to allow the property value to be ruined. Don, would you like it if this was going to go in next to your house? Marcus? Anybody? Nobody wants home sharing next to their house, especially if it's your primary residence. How long has it been, Mike, since you've been working class, sir? Has it been a while? Dawn, you look like you're well-to-do as well. We're about the same age. I'm not calling on you younger guys, but it's probably been a minute. I'm still working class. I took off today. It harms my family greatly. It's going to be hard for me to pay my electric bill or to get the groceries I need to continue the week. I work 7 days a week, me and her together, to pay mortgage. They just raised my mortgage $100. I could cry. The last thing I need is somebody robbing me of the equity in my home. I went to my neighbors, and most of my neighbors are Hispanic. Nothing wrong. I'm Chicano as well. I'm half. I'm mixteada. My mama is Chicano, and my dad's white. All right, so I fit in well. I can't let someone rob the equity out of my home. I just can't allow that. And hopefully you guys will do the right thing and not allow someone to ruin the equity in my home. My Hispanic neighbors are afraid to come up here. I tried. Multiple people, they're afraid to come into these buildings. I explained it's all right. It's not about that. They're like, I don't want my name. I don't want Wayne, go handle it. I beg of you guys, please. This is my primary residence I've had for 20 years. I've worked to make the neighborhood good. I've even worked to make the house that she's going to try and rent out nice for all of our community. I could talk all day and all night, but I don't think that's going to change anything. You've read my email. I had plenty of concerns. It's a 2-bedroom house. How many more people can we really fit in a 2-bedroom house? There's a 1-car garage, and there's no room on the streets. Many times when I get home, I have to park on another street because there's no parking. People have parked in front of my house. I have people block my driveway and take their keys. Parking's at a premium in the hood. From your gated neighborhood, I'm sure life is great, but let me tell you, when someone's gonna ruin the equity of your property, you guys would be as mad as I am. You would be fired up. I'll leave it at that, guys, and you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for all the work you do for our community.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Not for him. Anyone else?
No, nobody else signed up to speak. Does anybody else want to address the board on this application?
So just a couple of questions on the application. You have it as a 3-bedroom. Mr. Doug mentioned it was a 2-bedroom home, but
3-bedroom.
so I looked on it and I looked at Zillow. It looked like there was 3 bedrooms. Is there 1 bath?
Yes.
And you say the house can sleep 5 guests in beds plus a futon.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And parking on the street is not allowed. So it's
Yeah, well, I
max
would
of
take
2
that
cars.
away. The quiet hours you have listed is 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., so that's fine. What do you guys think on the guests?
Any other questions, comments?
5?
Was it remodeled? Was it the 3rd bedroom added?
Say it again, please.
Was it 2 bedrooms at one point?
No.
It's always been 3 bedrooms?
It's always been 3.
And how many beds and what size beds do you have in the bedrooms?
Queen size.
Queen size in all three?
No, 2 and 1 futon.
Okay.
Board, if I may, I've had one murder on my street, one homicide over parking.
We will limit the parking or request a limited.
I've got a video right here. I've got text messages of the woman texting my wife about the parking and the threats for her to be, and then she was. Before you approve it, I request that you at least look at them wrecking into my vehicles on the street and the homicide that's happened. Can we have a stay? Is that legal? I'm sorry, I'm working class. I don't know. May we have a stay? Can I have more time to get a lawyer together? Because I can't allow this to happen.
I mean, we could ask the applicant for a deferral, but without the application going through, there's nothing for a lawyer to do yet either.
Maybe he can convince you, Don, better than I can. Maybe they'll say the correct things. I'm sorry, I'm working class. Man, I got a blister today where I got up at 3 a.m. this morning and got off at 10 so that I wouldn't lose my entire paycheck to come here to argue. It's that important that we both lost our paycheck today. It might not mean anything to you, Marcus. You might have enough money to buy groceries.
I promise these all mean a great deal to us, and we do spend our time to go look at them.
But somebody who has enough money to have a secondary house to rent out, they're already eating good, guys. I'm not eating good. Let me tell you, we're struggling. We're working class poor in my neighborhood.
But by the ordinance of the City of Oklahoma City, which is what we have to follow here today, is how we will make the determination whether the application, whether we'll approve it or not.
So you're considering traffic as far as a one-way being so close? You're within
You've heard
500 feet of an on-ramp.
You've heard me repeatedly not allow on-street parking. And again, I will ask the applicant to have no on-street parking on this property.
And who enforces quiet hours?
That would be,
'Cause that's how-
code enforcement enforces it.
But code enforcement doesn't work during quiet hours.
So you have to file a complaint with code enforcement.
And I'll just chime in and say that I absolutely am sensitive to everything that you're saying. I take it very serious. I commend you for being here because I agree with you. I've made the statement before that I think that there is a little bit of disharmony in that, we have this meeting in the middle of the day during the work week, so I understand that it's not easy for everybody to be able to attend. So I 100% appreciate you guys being here and sharing those concerns. If you don't come here and share them with us, then we won't know anything about it. The one thing that I do want to convey is we are limited in what we can review and the reasons we can cite as the rationale behind rejecting an application. And so in this instance, most of the things that, as I read through your letter and as I listen to you right now, there are things that are outside of the applicant. Now, if the applicant does something that disturbs or interrupts the harmony of the neighborhood, of your peaceful enjoyment of your home, then those are things that I can look at and vote against this application. I completely understand some of the other things that are happening in the neighborhood. I've lived in some neighborhoods where it has not been a pleasant experience. So I can't empathize with you more, trust me. That being said, I can't hold her responsible for the behavior of other parties, if that makes sense. So what we're called to do is we have a limited scope of things that we can review to make the decision on, and unless there's some reason or something within that scope that allows us to reject it, then we've got to give her an opportunity to show that she can be a good neighbor.
How about my equity in my home? This will ruin the equity of my house.
So that's a concern that a lot of people have.
Are you going to give me extra? Are you going to value my home more? Is the board going to add extra to my house for it being ruined?
No, but
that's what I'm saying. You don't have the propensity to give me more, but you have the propensity to approve this She's not going to be the person living next to me. It's going to be strangers, and they're going to be unvetted. How would you like someone unvetted living by anybody? It's not the homeowner. It's somebody who's going to stay there 30 days. Tell me, when you were a young man, what did someone else's place mean to you? It didn't mean a lot as much as it did to your parents.
I understand what you're saying, but...
And how is adding more people to a toxic environment gonna make it better? Adding families and homeowners bring value to the community where we can all come together. But adding strangers in like a flop house, that's against community, that's anti-community.
Well, I completely understand your concern about that, but the one thing, I've agreed with pretty much everything you've said. The one thing that I will disagree with is the idea or the notion that allowing a short-term rental single-handedly reduces the property value. What we've seen is the opposite. Under good management, it will increase the property value. There is nothing, and when I say nothing, I don't mean strictly limiting it to short-term rentals. I mean, there's nothing across the board in the real estate industry that suggests that our property values are going to decrease simply based on what's next to us. That's a fear that has been pushed for a long time, and it's not the case. What we can do is we can try to put some parameters in place for her to operate within that will allow her to be a good neighbor, operate in a way that's responsibly, and possibly help contribute to the livelihood of the neighborhood.
Well, I'm gonna hold this board responsible for anything that may happen. As far as I tried to warn you, as far as how bad the parking is, everything that's going on in my neighborhood, if you guys still think it's a good choice, that's cool. I hope you can live with yourself. When you lay down tonight, Marcus, I hope you can sleep with yourself. Dawn as well. Roberto, Rita, Mike, I hope y'all sleep well. You got this lady bawling. You've got her sad. I don't know how to fight any more for my house than get up and fight for my house. Man, I appreciate what you do, but I don't appreciate it getting done to me. This ain't her only house. This is my only house. You could tell her no and say, buy a different house in a different hood. Where maybe you don't have one guy that's smart enough to write, email, or show up. I'm not scared of ICE is why I showed up. All my Mexican neighbors are terrified ICE would be here. That's why they're not here. That's why there's nobody else here but us. There's 4 white families left in my neighborhood, and one of them works for the city. He said he couldn't get off and he wouldn't have his face up here.
Again, I appreciate what you're saying. I completely get it.
But appreciating isn't doing anything, bro.
I will tell you this. It would not matter if all of your neighbors showed up unless they presented. What we have to look at is facts. It can't be anything outside of this particular application. And to that point, I'll inform you that we've had whole neighborhoods show up here before with legal representation. So I don't want you to feel that you're being disenfranchised in any way simply because you don't have an attorney or you don't have a large number of members of your community. Those same groups of people from those same neighborhoods, predominantly white neighborhoods, show up and we give them the exact same consideration. Unless they can present something, I'm not going to speak for these guys, but unless they can present something to me that shows that the operator is operating in a way that is detracting from their ability to live and enjoy their neighborhood and community, then we approve those. That's what we're called here to do. We're here to...
You're called here to just approve stuff.
Not to approve, not just to approve. We've denied some. You said you would hold this board accountable. I ask you to. I plan to be held accountable, not just by you, but by any other person who comes in here, whether they're an applicant or whether they're a protester of an applicant. So you come back here in a year from now and you explain how she's operated this Airbnb, and if it's in a manner that's inconsistent with the goals that the city has for these to operate under, we have no problem rejecting it. We've done it before.
You're not.
I think it's important to know that it's not us that are allowing it. The city, it's your council member that you need to go speak with, because your council member is the one that has the ability to change the ordinance. We just follow the ordinance and we apply the ordinance in the way that it was written, and we have criteria we've got to meet, and if it meets it, I mean, we've got some ability to change things, but like Marcus said, we have denied applicants who were not operating in a way that it was in harmony with the neighborhood itself. And it's hard to hold the applicant here liable for what's gone on before.
We're not holding her liable. We're just saying, no, we want families in these houses, not rentals. You know, your rebuttal to me sounds the same as the Nazis at Nuremberg when they said, I was only doing my job. Only doing my job. That's what the law said. I don't care what the law says. We need to start doing what's right. It's not right.
I think we're
Don't
ready
you
for a
understand?
motion. I think we're ready for a motion.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about guests.
Yeah, before we do that, just some application amendments, and since it's the first time, do you have another Airbnb?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure if this was the only one or not. And you're managing this personally?
Yes.
I'd like to see the maximum number of guests to be 5
Okay.
at the home at any one time. A maximum number of vehicles to be 2 with no on-street parking during the quiet hours, and for a term of 1 year. And obviously you have heard from the neighbor, so they're very close, so you're gonna have eyes on this. So operate it accordingly.
I'm going to kind of modify the no on-street parking during quiet hours because of the parking situation.
no on-street?
No on-street parking at all
On street.
throughout the day.
Okay. And I think you were okay with that anyways.
Yes.
And I would just advise, same thing as I just told Wayne, if you don't operate this in a way that we can get behind a year from now, we will have no problem rejecting it. So I would encourage you to communicate with them, share your contact information with them, share your contact information with the other neighbors that couldn't be here, and your goal for the next year should be to win them over, to prove to them that you're an asset to the community and not a liability.
I have a close communication with some of the neighbors. So some of them have my number and name.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that most applicants that are trying to run an Airbnb or a situation like this, I think they're trying to better. Like for every time that I've stayed in an Airbnb, it's actually pretty nice, right? You don't generally rent a place that's going to be a dump. And I hopefully that will you're going to keep out the people that you don't want in your neighborhood through this. Now, obviously we've heard enough cases that it's going to be crucial that you make sure that you approve people that are not going to cause noise disturbances in the end, in the middle of the night. But I think generally, just like we've seen very many renewals, there's not issues, and I think a lot of fears are unwarranted or seem to play out as unwarranted over the years. So,
the application that was right before this, there was a neighborhood of protesters, a swimming pool in the backyard, a pond just across the street. They were adamant, and not one person showed back up. And I went by the house. It looks great. It's fine.
And that's from good management.
Yep.
all right, so I'm going to make a motion to approve case number 15834 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the modifications that the maximum number of guests shall be 5, a 2-car maximum, and no on-street parking at all during the day, and a 1-year maximum, or term for a 1 year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you.
You're approved. Okay, we're finished. So are you.
To allow home sharing at 9317 Northwest 118th Terrace.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Bao. Home share, single family resident district location 9317 Northwest 118 Terrace. And we would like to have your permits home share for 1 or 2 years. Because we live in the property. This 2027 after my daughter is washed away. And we use that house for Airbnb, for that house share for help pay out the bill and mortgage bill, for income, not concerned for profits. That's it.
Got one person signed up to speak.
Okay. And,
Mr. Medley,
yeah, go ahead.
let's hear from you.
Airbnb right now.
My name is Mike Medley. I was here last month when this first came up. So I live at 9320 Northwest 118th Street. So my backyard is catty corner to this backyard. I won't go through all the stuff I went through last time. Hopefully you remember it all. After listening to what we just heard, I understand a little bit more about what you go through. I'm only here to express some concerns that, again, have been brought to me by the neighbors. One is, of course, most of the neighbors have kids who like to play outside. With an Airbnb, strangers coming and going all the time. A lot of them are afraid to let their kids come out and play. That's not anything new. Every neighborhood has kids. I don't know what to say about that. I wish that could be a reason for not having it. It doesn't seem to be. But if it is approved, I would request that maybe the owners come check this property every day, because I'm tired of the trash blowing into my front yard, which it's doing. We've had party trash there because they're already using it and renting it out. And when the wind blows, it blows it right down the alley and into my yard. The only other thing I could say, and what I don't understand, and maybe this you don't have anything to do with, is the HOA. Couldn't understand why he even bought a house. The HOA specifically says that the house owner has to use this home as their primary residence. Obviously, they're not. Now, I don't know, that's maybe we have to go through the HOA and an attorney for that. I don't know. If that's the case, we will. And I won't go through the rest of this, you've heard it all before anyway.
So, just a couple questions for you, that they're already operating this as an Airbnb? It's current.
Ever since the day they bought it.
Yep, and when was that?
2-3 months ago.
Okay, I saw on Airbnb they had a October listing and a review and 2 in November.
Yeah,
So,
there's
and
already been loud
currently
parties
up.
in the backyard with fireworks and all kinds of junk.
Well, thanks again for coming back down.
I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry, I don't know about that.
you didn't know about that?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know about it.
You didn't know you were operating it
Yes.
as an Airbnb?
Yeah, because we don't know they have do like that, you know. Before we check with the Airbnb platform, we check with the record, we review the background is good, we pick them, but we don't know what happened, you know. Sorry.
So, for me, I'd like to see the property taken off Airbnb. I'd like to defer this for 4 months, because you've had it up for 4 months.
Yes.
And revisit it then.
It's being kind.
It is being kind.
actions have to have consequences, and I think if we're gonna run a business, I think that we need to understand what the law says. So if you're gonna operate a short-term rental, and I think that this is kind of where the board's kind of getting a little more, getting an understanding of what's going on out there, but I think that there needs to be consequences and a reward for those Airbnb operators that are doing it the correct way. I mean, I don't think that we've addressed it to this extent before, at least publicly here. We can talk about it now, is that I'm almost in favor in giving a denial. But what grace period do we allow for people to make it right? So, I mean, if
6 months, a year.
yeah, I don't know what that number is or what standard we'd like to kind of, or what precedent we kind of like to set.
Well, I think what Don suggested is fair. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's operated 4 months without a license, I'm fine with saying, we'll revisit it in 4 months.
I like that idea.
Yeah, and the reason why I was doing that is so he didn't have to repay an application fee. So it was lenient by not having to pay a reapplication fee, because if we deny, then he'd have to reapply. So
I'm on board.
That's fine with me.
Board, just for your consideration, any application continue to a future date will still be under the current ordinance. So,
right. And I read the CCNRs, so the CCNRs don't actually say short-term lease, which is something we've asked legal about, and it has to say short-term lease in order for it to be binding for us to use that. Doesn't mean that the HOA itself can't file suit and use their own path, but for us today, that's where we are.
All right.
So as an applicant, it's up to you to take that deferral. And you can try to have us vote today, up or down, or you can take that deferral and come back and see us after not operating for 4 months.
I still use the Airbnb or no?
You can't use it as an Airbnb during the 4
shouldn't.
months.
No.
That is correct. You need to take it down you need to take it off the platform.
Oh, take off platform. I can get people rent out?
You can do
Short-term
long-term
rental.
rentals,
Okay.
but you can't do short-term rentals.
Okay.
And that means that plus 30 days.
30 days.
Minimum has to be 30 days,
Okay.
31.
Thank you.
So you want to go with the deferral?
Yeah.
Continue it?
Refer it to June. I mean, we're talking about, 4 full months, so.
Yeah, let's go July. So apply again in June. It would come on the July docket. Yeah, it's my birthday.
All right. Thank you.
Should we just defer to the July 17th date because he won't reapply?
Right, that's right.
Let's do the latter part of June. Where are we? Second month, right?
Yeah, second week of.
How about the second meeting in June?
Do we have one?
There's only one in June? Okay. July 17th? Okay. Okay. All right, motion, any more discussion? We good? Motion to continue case number 15817 to the July 17th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
So make sure you're taking that down, because you have neighbors who are watching.
Okay.
If you come back here in July and they tell me that you've rented this from then till now,
Yeah, okay, I will check it.
will bode well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to defer. Cast your votes. Okay, you're
you very much.
continued. We'll see you back. I don't have any additional items. We don't have any board committees. Does anybody want to say something? Municipal counselor? Citizens to be heard? No other business? We're adjourned. That's the first time I've ever been